I want to thank President for that very kind introduction. There'll be a test later on that to see if you paid attention. And I swear, my Rotary has never been rocking as much as Louisville Rotary rocked coming in. It is wonderful to be here with each and every one of you. I want to share a story with you. Most recently, I had the privilege to be at Fort Knox, not far from where we are today, to witness a change of command ceremony as the colors were passed from Major General Smith to Brigadier General Peggy Combs. History was being made. The cannons sounded, the guns fired, chills went up my spine, not just because this is the first female cadet commander that we've seen at Fort Knox, but then Brigadier General Peggy Combs opened her mouth and she said these words. She said, "I'm not here to stay. I'm here to make a difference." That's why each and every one of you come here today, fellow Rotarians. The four-way test, that is what we strive to do each and every day because of you. I stand here today as Kentucky's Secretary of State because of you. Led the ticket back in 2011, and because of you, the youngest female Secretary of State in the nation. Each and every day that I have had the privilege to be in the office of Secretary of State, as your chief election official, chief business officer, the chief advocate for civic engagement, I've tried to live the four-way test. I've tried to utilize the words that Brigadier General Peggy Combs said best. We're not here to stay, but hopefully each of us is here to truly make a difference. As Secretary of State, you have the awesome privilege to watch over all the elections that occur here in the Commonwealth. Did y'all know it's an election year? To likewise watch over all of the businesses here in the state, over 700,000 businesses that are keeping Kentucky going in the right direction. And something that I truly enjoy, working with our grandmamas down to our grandbabies to find the power of their voice as the chief advocate for civic engagement. And thanks to each and every one of you, many of the elected officials that you see here today, State Representative Joni Jenkins, Darrell Owens, Senator McGarvey, and Congressman Yarmouth, we've been able to do some amazing work in the Office of Secretary of State, making sure that we are guaranteeing that all eligible Kentuckians have their voice heard at the ballot box, that we are growing our economy, and that we are giving the green light to the small businesses like the clothing store that my grandparents operated in Mason County, Kentucky, a thriving chance at actually succeeding here in the Commonwealth. Thanks to the help of these amazing legislators, we've been able to put the people of this state, not partisan politics, but the people of Kentucky first. When it comes to business, wanting to make sure when we say that Kentucky truly is open for business, that we mean it, that our business owners actually go about doing what they do best, which is creating jobs instead of spending inordinate amount of time communicating with state government. You mentioned, the President did in his opening, House Bill 277. It's as a result of the connections we made during our campaign, sitting down talking with business owners who said they spent more time actually trying to acquire the form necessary to pay their occupational license tax, sometimes more to pay a CPA to actually fill it out than was due and deserved, because you see Kentucky has numerous jurisdictions, and you can imagine being a business owner operating throughout the Commonwealth of Kentucky. They were faxing, they were calling, they were driving to get the numerous forms, and then when they got them, trying to figure out and navigate their way through, well, the CPAs, they said, our business owners need help. We went to work, and working with former Speaker of the House, Jody Richards, 277 became a reality, a bipartisan piece of legislation that the first session I had the privilege to work with the members of our General Assembly, we passed. It actually creates a standard uniform form that our businesses will be able to use, and we have collected from all of the various jurisdictions throughout the Commonwealth of Kentucky the hundreds of forms that are needed for our business owners, and they are located at onestop.ky.gov. That is Kentucky's online business portal. My job today will have been done if by the end you will recite with me, onestop.ky.gov. Let me hear you. onestop.ky.gov. Kentucky is unique. We are one of 12 states that has an online portal that actually gives information to business owners wanting to actually start a business here in the state. It's open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, so businesses can go ahead and get started. A 75% time savings. That's what we're seeing, and this is just one addition to expanding that online portal that we see. Likewise, imagine operating a business and having numerous usernames and passwords with each various different agency that's throughout the Commonwealth of Kentucky. How many of you here have more than one username and password you remember on a daily basis? Raise your hand. It's no different with businesses. House Bill 343, just another in the line of many efforts we have taken to actually make it easier for businesses to open up here in the Commonwealth. 343, it creates a unique identifier that businesses will be able to use in conjunction with onestop.ky.gov, that they will be able to easily navigate and communicate through the various different agencies throughout the Commonwealth of Kentucky. Again, a bipartisan piece of legislation, thanks to the legislators you see here, that was about putting the people of Kentucky, especially our business owners, first. It's allowed me to see some amazing, talented individuals make their hopes, their dreams become a reality. People like Elliott Smith, who received an award from our office as a result of his work, his civic involvement. He took that award and created Dream Strings, which refurbishes instruments and provides them to kids in need. It's allowed me to see our young farmers, the future of Kentucky. People like Joe Bremer creates Joe's Bards and Suds, creating literally bars of soap off of the goat milk that he and his family are generating off of their family farm. That's what good government does. And in the same way, we have worked to make sure that we are truly open for business. We've tried to make sure the barriers to the ballot box are broken down. I wouldn't be here today if it weren't for my work with victims of domestic violence. I came out of court one day helping a victim obtain an EPO, and I realized then and there that I could keep striving for the corner office or perhaps do some greater good for the Commonwealth. That's why I ran for Secretary of State. And we were able, with the amazing leadership of Joni Jenkins, to pass the first ever address confidentiality program that the Commonwealth of Kentucky has ever seen. It says to those victims of domestic violence that I worked with in the courtroom, they're struggling to get their voice back. that when it comes to actually having their voice heard on Election Day, they can do that without fear of harm, that that person they stood across from in the courtroom will be able to find them or their loved ones, because their name, their information, it's not available for public consumption. And likewise, they can participate in our absentee voting process. Now, how many of you here actually have participated previously in the absentee voting process? Raise your hand. I bet you didn't realize that your voter information, well, it's publicly available, your name, your address. And before we came to the Office of Secretary of State, those individuals participating in our absentee process, well, their information, the integrity of the election, put into jeopardy. Thanks to work that we did, we now can say very confidently that individuals who are participating in our absentee process, thanks to an election integrity bill that we passed, well, their information isn't available until after the election. We all know here in Kentucky, we don't have a problem of people impersonating others at the ballot box. We have problems with people trying to buy votes with pills, bills, and gravel. This prevents that. The legislators that you see before you, they rose up to help us make sure that our elections would remain free and fair, and the integrity of them, especially for those that are pledging that they're going to be out of the county on Election Day, that their security not jeopardized. And what I'm most proud of, this election cycle, it'll be the first election that we see Kentucky's first ever military heroes voting bill in action. Senate Bill 1. It's as a result of travel to the Middle East that I was able to do back in 2012. The first question that our military men and women would ask me after I would thank them for their service was, Secretary, does my vote actually count? Those men and women that put on that uniform, not as Democrats, not as Republicans or independents, but as Americans, questioned whether we here in Kentucky actually stood up and fought for the very right that they are dedicating their lives to. I came back from being in the Middle East and working with our legislators in a bipartisan manner. We passed the first ever military heroes voting bill. This bill says to those that are on the battlefield, your voice matters back at the ballot box. This is the good work that we have done, because it's been about putting the people of Kentucky, not partisan politics, but the people of this state first. People like Master Sergeant Willie Oden, whose wife Veronica is back in Hardin County, cutting hair as quick as she can because she can't wait for her husband to come back from serving abroad. That is who and what we are fighting for. I come before you today, though, wearing many different hats. Most women do, don't we? A wife, a daughter, yes, Secretary of State, but also a U.S. Senate candidate. I love my job as Secretary of State, if you can't tell. I absolutely love being able to help the people of Kentucky operate their businesses, have their voice heard, and yes, see the power of their voice to effectuate change. And we have fought hard in Frankfort and done some great things. But we don't have that same fight in Washington, D.C. We don't have that same fight that Brigadier General Peggy Combs mentioned, someone that realizes they're not there to stay, but rather to make a difference. Washington isn't working for us right now. You only have to see that when you leave the steps of your house every day. It's the mama that's rising at 6 a.m., having 3 jobs to put food on her table for the 6-month-old. And we have a senator that doesn't even want to give credence to the gosh darn proposals that might actually increase the minimum wage to help her make a living. Or it's the veteran who has served Kentucky faithfully, is trying to get a job, but we've got a senator that just doesn't want to give credence to the gosh darn proposals like the Vow to Hire Heroes Act or the extension of unemployment insurance benefits that would help that veteran actually get back into the middle class. Or go right over to the U of L campus and you'll see it's our students who we have a senator that just doesn't want to give gosh darn credence to the proposals that actually might help our students afford college and get degrees, not debt. Kentucky We deserve better. In the words of Brigadier General Peggy Combs, we deserve someone that realizes you're in public service to try to make a difference, not just to get self-promotions. Now, there's no silver bullet that will solve all of our economic woes. You and I here know that. We've followed the four-way test. But what I do know is that when you can work together, like I have with the folks in Frankfurt, perhaps we can finally get Washington working again. Have someone who does believe it's her #1 priority to actually grow the middle class and put hardworking Kentuckians back to work. Have someone that does believe an increase in the minimum wage, well, it will lift the wages of 1 in 4 Kentuckians. It will actually grow our gross domestic product. It will create thousands of jobs and give that mama who rises at 6 a.m. a fighting chance. Have someone that believes that our students, our veterans, they represent the best of Kentucky. Duty, honor, sacrifice. They're trying to make the right choices. They need a senator that gives them the fighting chance to actually succeed. Together, we can do, as Brigadier General Peggy Combs said, and continue to make a difference. But it requires all of Kentucky to rise up and realize 30 years of someone just wanting to stay in Washington and get a self-promotion is long enough. We need someone that is putting the people of Kentucky first instead of partisan politics, as I have tried to do each and every step of the way while having the honor to serve as your Secretary of State. Together, we can make sure we increase incomes all across the state. We can make sure we train our workers not just for the jobs of today, but of tomorrow, and that we keep Kentucky competitive, not just locally, but globally as well. I recently had the privilege to sit down with an amazing woman who, she meets the four-way test. She's lived the four-way test, a woman by the name of Lily Ledbetter. We know she fought for what was true. We know she fought for what would be fair for other women. We know she fought for what would actually be beneficial to women throughout the United States. Lily said it best. She said, "Allison, justice isn't a given. You have to fight for it," just as she did. I come here today because I hope, my fellow Rotarians, that you will put the four-way test to the record of our current senator, and you will see that it fails. You will see that we have someone that just wants to stay instead of making a difference. You will see that we have someone that isn't fighting for justice and equality for all. Together, we can make that difference that Brigadier General Peggy Combs said. And I hope that together we can continue on this journey and be victorious. Thank you all very, very much.